Yeah, yeah. You want the real? I got it. The truth, you know I'm about it. God-given wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Things that you go through, we can talk about it. You staying the same. I doubt it.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Very excited for this week. Just want to make a really quick video about being available to God and what that really looks like, what that really means. And when we say that, you know, what am I really saying? But first, before I do that, thank you. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Y'all are awesome. Like, I'm literally watching the amount of subscribers go up on this channel, and that's how it should be. If these videos bless you, share them with your friends, encourage them to subscribe, because really this is not about me. This is about you guys growing and learning more about God so that your Christ walk can become better. And then, you know, because you are new, say hi. You know, I want to meet you guys. I'm new to you, you're new to me. So let's meet in the comments, all right? So let's get into it. Today we're talking about becoming available to God. So I'll put it in a concept that's easier to digest. When you start a job, you say, hey, I want to work here. I like what y'all do. And you give them an availability. You say, I'm going to be here on these days at these times. And whatever you ask me to do, that's what I'm going to do, right? So when we make ourselves available to God, we're making the same agreement. Hey, Lord, you know, instead of days and times, literally we give him access to your life. When you make him Lord, you make him first. You make him literally master. Paul talks about being a slave or a prisoner unto God, but something that he's happy about, okay? We'll get into that another time. But when there's some things, when we say that we're available to God, we need to be careful, right? So number one, when you go to work, and they ask you to do something consistently that's in your job description and you don't do it, that's kind of like you don't want to keep your job. Like if they say, hey, go sweep, your job is to be a janitor. And you're like, I'm not sweeping, I don't sweep. That's not what I'm going to do. You're not going to keep your job for very long. So the same thing goes with God. When God asks us to do things, especially when we say we've made ourselves available to him, Lord, I sacrifice my life to you. And we don't do that, and we kind of like be stingy with what we will and won't do for God. It's kind of like, okay, are you really available? Do you want to keep your job? You know what I'm saying? Like, God uses us as vessels, and in order for him to use us, we have to continue to allow him to use us in whatever capacity he asks us to do. But be mindful as well. Be careful, but be mindful as well that whatever God is asking you to do, he knows that you're already able to do it. Because he made you, he knows your gifts, your talents, and your abilities. And so when he asks us to do something, then we should already trust and know that with his help, by his strength, that we will be able to accomplish that thing. Now, let me say this too, because God has asked me to do things that I was more than capable of doing, but I wasn't comfortable doing it. Before I started speaking, before I started preaching, before I started teaching and had my Bible study and stuff like that, I was not like, oh yeah, so ready just to go ahead and speak in front of people. I wasn't so ready to go ahead and be transparent and tell everybody, you know, the things that God had helped me to overcome, sharing my testimony. But in me overcoming that and me functioning in the uncomfortable, I was able, through God, to bless others. The Bible says when we connect what God asks us to do with the Bible, it explains it better. The Bible says that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb, which was already shed for us when Jesus died, and by the words of our testimony. So when I become transparent, when I tell you guys, yeah, you know, I've been through this, I went through that, I've been there, I've done that, God brought me through that, it blesses people. So remember, hold on to, when you get into an uncomfortable situation, God asks you to do something that's outside of your comfort zone. Be aware that he's trying to do something. He set a purpose out for it, and that if we be obedient, he will bless us as well for that. So let's not be stingy in what we say we will and won't do when we make ourselves available to God. You know, we're so ready to be a Christian until they ask us to pray. We're so ready to be a Christian until they ask us to intercede for somebody. So ready until they say, oh, well, you need to give this amount in tithes. We got to be real, people. We got to be real. But when I decided to make myself available, I made a mistake that a lot of us make. I made only pieces of myself available to God. And when I say pieces, I mean, okay, God, I'll give you, my friends. Okay, God, I'll give you my family. All right, God, I'll make you available to work in this area. But I was selective in my availability to God. When you fully give yourself to God, you allow him to intercede in all areas of your life. You allow him to transcend all areas of your life. And I'm learning this because I'm starting to become, Lord, transcend the areas of my life. I want you to be involved. I want to really be available to you. So when I go to the grocery store, people will see me as a light. When I go to my job, people will see me as, your servant. Wherever I'm at, when I'm on the radio, when I'm preaching, when I'm out ministering, wherever I'm at, I want people to know, besides just Sunday, that I'm being used by you. So let me say that too, because, I'm definitely against the Sunday Christian. And, that's conviction not just for you all, if you just go to church, but that's conviction for me. I have to make sure that I'm not just serving God on one day, or just being good on one day, or just making sure, I listen to gospel music on one day. I have to make sure that I'm available to him at all times. Because, let me say this, if I chose to work one day a week, that would not sustain me. That would not sustain me. That wouldn't pay for my bills. That wouldn't do anything for me. So me saying, okay, God, I'm only going to give you one day. What does that show? What dedication does that show? As much as God has given us, as good as God has been to us, as many blessings as he gave us that we didn't deserve, and we only give him one day, that's like a shot in the back to God. And we can't be like that. We cannot be like that. So make sure when you say you're available to God, that you give him a worthy availability. That you don't just be selective in the areas that you decide to give to God, but that you allow him to transcend all areas of your life. And when you say you're available, be flexible on what he asks you to do. He knows who you are. He knows what you're capable of. And even if it's uncomfortable, press through that thing, because God is looking for willing people. He's looking for obedient people. Is there one? Is there anybody? Is there anybody willing? Is there anybody ready who's wanting to do the work of the Lord? Because the things, the Bible tells us, the things that we do for Christ, only those things will last. In the last days, when we go and we stand before God in judgment, what will we have to say? What will we have to show? And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I know a lot of people, they look at me and they say, wow, Kayla's really, she's really about God. Well, yeah, anything that I'm about, I'm dedicated to. And a lot of us just aren't dedicated. A lot of us talk a good talk. We, say a lot of good stuff, but we're not really there. We're not really dedicated, and God is looking for dedication. So begin to think about the areas in your life where you could dedicate to God, where maybe you're falling through the cracks in those places. Begin to think about those places and think and pray and ask God, how can I be used better? Maybe you know how to sing. Maybe you know how to dance. Maybe you're just a really good friend. Maybe you know how to pray real well. Maybe you got that communication open with God so that you can intercede for somebody else or pray for somebody else, right? So make yourself available and be dedicated to that thing. And I guarantee you that God is going to open up doors for you because you've agreed to be obedient to him. Be obedient to whatever he asks you to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to share this week. Just give you food for thought, just something real short and quick. We are going to continue with the Live Right series, so be on the lookout for that. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm definitely praying for you all, and keep subscribing, keep liking, and keep commenting. Make sure you are available to God.